Blah. Here's the thing, though, and this is important to note. Howie was not stoked about this article when it came out. Howie saw that Legs posted this on Facebook and was not pleased and felt that things were taken out of context. I could see why. Like, these are really just sort of like pastiches of various stories. This is Howie Pyro telling a story about Cleveland. Marlene's the one who brought me to Cleveland. She got a job in Cleveland as a DJ at this big rock station. I don't know how she pulled this thing off. She was sending me money, and I just buy all this dope and take a train and go to Cleveland, skimming all the bags all the way. It was so, this is in quotes, so retarded. That's what Howie says. I'm just reading it. The pejorative word. I would be like running drugs to Cleveland. I would come and buy all these drugs, and then on the way there, they'd be half done, you know? So I'd stay with Marlene for a while in Cleveland, and then the Deadboys would come into town, and I was just there. We were hanging out, and no one knew who I was. I had never been there before, hanging out or anything. I knew a few people, but usually there was nothing happening. I mean, I just hang out at the Hotel Swingo and do drugs. I didn't pretend to be Johnny Thunders in Cleveland, those fucking assholes, the Deadboys. So what happened? I was wearing let's take that line again. I didn't pretend to be Johnny Thunders in Cleveland, those fucking assholes, the Deadboys. So what happened? I was wearing the red jacket that he's wearing on the back of the first Dolls album cover in front of Gem Spot. That's what I'm thinking of. At the end, 2nd Avenue and St. Mark's Place, you have Gem Spa, and that's where the New York Dolls took that very iconic picture for their album cover. Walter Lure gave him the red jacket on the back of the first Dolls album. Walter Lure gave him that jacket for his 18th birthday, Howie's 18th birthday. Howie says, that was a good birthday. So I had just gotten it and I looked exactly like Johnny Thunders. And I went to see the Deadboys play at some massive show. I was wearing that famous red jacket, and the Deadboys come out for an encore. And we're like, oh, everybody, there's a special guest in the audience. And we're all looking around like, cool. And Stiv is snickering away. And he's like, Johnny Thunders? And he's like, Johnny Thunders. Everyone was like, what? And I'm like, wow, where? Stiv makes a face and points at me. And I'm like, fuck you, man. Fuck you, fuck you. And these girls were like, totally like, oh my God, you're Johnny Thunders. I had nothing to do with the whole thing. And it's a loud, big show, and everybody thinks I'm Johnny Thunders, being modest, you know. Stiv grabs my arm and pulls me on stage and goes, don't plug in, just pretend to play. So we played a couple of Dolls and Heartbreakers songs, and after the show, these girls had an ounce of coke, and they're like, give it to us, and everything was amazing. And I was like, fuck it, I'm going to go with it. We were scamming a lot of coke, and the whole week I realized, we were scamming a lot of coke, and that whole week I was really getting into shooting coke, which is one of the most horrible, insane things you could ever do. There's never enough coke when you're shooting coke. I could understand that. So we're at this girl's house, and she's about to hand over this huge amount of coke, and we're just out of our minds, all of us. And then the phone rings. It's Chrissy Hind from the Pretenders calling from New York, and they're all excited. They're like, oh yeah, we're with Johnny Thunders. He's been here all week. And Chrissy Hind goes, I was just with Johnny just like an hour ago in New York. And all of a sudden the room turns dead, and I'm in big, big trouble, real big trouble. You know what I mean? I mean, we've been talking a lot. We've been taking a lot of stuff from a lot of people, and it fucked up our whole reality. It got real ugly real fast. And I was literally running out of the town. Haha. It was so bad. It was bad. So we ran away. Legs note. Eventually, Howie got clean from drugs and alcohol in the early 90s. I did not know that Howie Pyro was sober. That's awesome. Something that we both have in common.